afternoon, everyone. This is Gianni from the Renegade Health Show, and today we have a very special episode. We are on Klamath Lake, literally on Klamath Lake. Take a look. We're on it, on a boat, and we're actually docked. But I'm here with Tamera Campbell, who is the CEO of E3Live, and she's basically going to explain to us everything that we want to know about this incredible blue-green algae. So let's explain, if you can explain very briefly the difference between, say, blue-green algae and E3Live.
Okay. Blue-green algae is a very generic word. If you want to look at it, it's kind of like saying snakes and mushrooms. There's just thousands of varieties, but which kind? So we don't refer to this as blue-green algae. It is a blue-green algae, just like spirulina would be blue-green algae, but we want to be specific as to the strain. This is a Phanazomenon floss aqua, AFA for short. There are some algae that fall under the classification of blue-green that if you would Google them, you would find out that they're toxic and that they bloom in lakes. Every body of water on Earth, including your drinking water, has algae of some type in it. There are many types of algae. Some are edible, some are not, some are toxic. This one happens to be a freshwater aquabotanical. It is an edible nutritional species of this incredible algae, which is a food. It's a bunch right there.
Why this lake? Why does it grow here?
It has to do with the area that we're located. Mm-hmm. We're on the Pacific Ring of Fire, which is all volcanic, as you know, and Mount Mazama, which is now known as Crater Lake, Mount Mazama blew up and it spewed the ash all over this area. So this lake is built on about 40 feet of volcanic mineral ash. Mm-hmm. And then we have geothermal activity underneath us because we are on the Ring of Fire. We have natural geothermal water and water springs that come up, so it's constantly bringing up massive amounts of minerals from the earth, natural minerals. And because of this amount of sunlight that we have, Klamath Falls is known as the Sunshine City. We have very few days of rain or cloud cover. Almost every day it is sunny. So with the weather being in a high desert, mountain, clean, pristine area, we've got the right type of water. We have volcanic ash. It gives it everything, all the nutrients that it needs for this particular strain to flourish. So why is it here? I would say because nature or God, however you choose to look at it, put it here in a place where it would be protected. Mm-hmm. You know, because it wouldn't survive, it wouldn't be able to survive. If you put this into other areas or lakes where there was high amounts of recreation or things, you would never be able to harvest it. It wouldn't remain pure. So because of all the different things that are here, it creates conditions where this can be used as a food source. We harvest on what's called the Eagle Ridge, and it's where the water flows through. It's the old river channel of the lake, and it has the blooms that we're seeking. And we go out and we check for quality of the bloom, what type of bloom it is, how fresh it is, and if it meets all of our standards for what we're looking for, then we go ahead and we harvest. Mm-hmm. Today's not a harvest day because we're broken down. A little bit of a problem today, but that's okay. The algae's not really up in a bloom because we just had that big storm pass through, so it takes a day or two for it to come back and be able to really accumulate on the surface. This is our processing area when we bring it in. We bring it in off of the lake in some stainless steel tanks. We bring it here. All of these are stainless steel tanks, refrigerated tanks. And we do all of our dewatering. We harvest, we clean, we dewater out there. We bring it up here to the shore in some big boats, and then we put it in these tanks, and then it goes through these filtration systems. And then we load it into buckets or barrels that are lined with food-grade plastic bags. They go to the freezer, or in the case of when we're bottling E3Live, we put those into totes, we take it into town, and then we further take care of it there. So this is really just simply our harvesting.
So what do you mean by dewatering? What's that?
Dewatering is where you take the algae out of the water, right, or try to take, it depends on
so
how
is there
you look
any
at
water in the left in once it comes out of here? Is there any water left, or
we try to remove as much water as we can, but
right,
by in and of itself, algae is 92% water. Okay. So it contains water within its own cells, but it's its own little entity. It's not the lake water that it's holding in the cells.
We'll be right back, Tamera. So here's the lake, and I think one of the things that we wanted to mention is that there's no boats. No. A lot of people.
This isn't a recreational lake. A lot of people think of a lake automatically. They picture that they would have boats or things, but this lake being where it is, first of all, we don't live in a highly populated area. We have a very short season of warmth here, so it's the recreation that you would find on this lake would be more like sailboats. It's one of the best wind sailing lakes here in the Pacific Northwest, and certainly in Oregon it's very famous for that. But this lake is 140 square miles, and we just traveled 17 miles up the lake from our home. All of the sailing is done at the lower end of the lake. We're at the very north end of the lake. So out here you'll see there's no houses. It's all bordered by state, federal timberlands. There's no houses, there's no development. So it keeps the area very pristine. And because of the algae in the lake, people don't swim or recreate in it. It's not a recreational lake. There are certain times of the year when we don't have algae blooms and some fishermen might come out or something like that, but mostly it's really on the lower end of the lake.
Great. See it.
Yeah, see,
And this is the algae here?
This is the algae here, but today this would not be a bloom day. As you can see, although it looks like there's a tremendous amount of algae in the water, and there is, we can't capture it because it's too thin. We have to have what's called a bloom of algae. And what that is the algae will start to divide itself and it'll become very thick. And it's like the sprouts, if you will, the beginning of the algae, and that's what we look for. We don't go in and harvest anything that's old. We look only for blooms that are vibrant, that are brand new, that are fresh. So I compare it to like sprouts, looking for the fresh, young, just starting to grow type algae. Individual strands is actually made up of hundreds of little tiny single cell organisms that are all connected together, making it look like, in essence, a blade of grass.
It does look like a blade of grass. I don't know if you can see it on the camera, but it's pretty unique. It looks almost like someone took a basket full of grass shavings and just dumped them into the water.
Yeah, from their lawnmower.
It has a really beautiful, in a bloom, there's a certain smell in a fresh bloom that is, it smells really sweet, really vibrant. It smells like a lot of chlorophyll, and it's a really beautiful smell. You can't experience that here today because we don't have enough algae.
Right.
As the storm passes through, what it does is it stirs up the lake and kind of breaks everything up, and it takes a day for everything to calm down, and then it'll open back. There you can actually see Mount Shasta.
Oh yeah.
So between Mount Shasta and the rim of Crater Lake, that's a 200-mile distance that you're standing there looking 200 miles if you just turn your head.
Wow.
It's a long ways to see, isn't it?
Now you could literally, you're saying that it's not bloom, but you could eat this here, and could you get the same effects as something like an E3Live would?
Well, you could, but we would not recommend that somebody would just come and take it out of the lake and do that, because the process that we're putting it through is we're cleaning it, we're filtering it, we're making sure that it's pure. Not to say that anybody would be harmed by it, but it wouldn't be a recommendation that I would make, because this side of the lake is not where we harvest. We're very particular where it is harvested and what we do harvest. We have onboard microscopes, we have people monitoring it all day long. It's all about the purity and the quality.
Yes.
All right, everyone. Hope you enjoyed that. Your question of the day today is, have you tried E3Live? Go ahead and post it down below. Let us know your thoughts. This is Kevin Gianni and
Tamera Campbell.
together we can change the health of the world, one show at a time.